Have you ever noticed that when you try to get the better end of a deal, you end up getting screwed when in reality it should have been someone else to get the shaft? Well, that's what some of the louds found out in the episode I'm going to talk about today. So join me as I, SteamTeamRedubUK, CC Trainor-Ling, bring you another retro review from past seasons of The Loud House. Cue the intro! Today's episode is Ruthless People. In this episode, the Loud House is infested with termites, and while one half of the family goes to stay with Aunt Ruth, the others stay with Pop-Pop, and they don't have the good time like they had hoped. The first thing I thought of while watching this was the hooky episode from Hey Arnold where Arnold and Gerald skip school so they can have fun and nothing seems to go right. They find out they would have had a better time had they gone to school for what turned out to be a surprise carnival day. This Loud House episode follows a very similar formula, only its execution is handled terribly by comparison. The ones who are on the receiving end of having a horrible temporary living arrangement are Lynn Sr., Lincoln, Lori, Luna, Lynn Jr., and Lola. Originally, they were going to go to Aunt Ruth's, and the other half of the family, Rita, Lenny, Luann, Lucy, Lana, Lisa, and Lily, were going to Sunset Canyon. None of them wanted to stay with their aunt, but because no hotel would take all 13 of them, they had to randomly draw names from a hat on who would stay with Ruth and Pop-Pop. Either way, one half was going to get screwed no matter what, so they at least had to be fair about it. However, Lynn Sr.'s half of the family were able to switch places with those who were going to Sunset Canyon, but these were some very low-ball negotiations. Considering how much some of them detest going to Aunt Ruth's, I'm surprised none of the kids on Rita's side never once demanded a lot more than the bare minimum in return for agreeing to switch. Seems a little uncharacteristic of them to not take advantage of a situation such as this, but everyone agrees to switch, and that was that. Lynn Sr.'s side of the family arrive at Sunset Canyon, and all the fun things they thought they were going to do never ended up happening. They unfortunately showed up at a bad time, and that's exactly what they had, a bad time. From eating gross food to boiling in a hot room, among other things, they got the exact opposite of what they were hoping for. The aggravating part about their misfortunes is that they didn't deserve to get punished like this, and I'll explain as I continue reading the script. They call Lenny to see how she and the rest of the family are holding up at Aunt Ruth's, thinking they're having just as bad a time as they are, and Lenny tells them they're actually at Ruth's lake house that she randomly got at some point in the past. The family being there is because Ruth didn't want anyone stressing out her cats, but there's a problem in that explanation. They've been to their aunt's house several times in the past, and the only one ever confirmed to have any problem with those cats is Lily. Logically, she should have gone to Sunset Canyon with Lynn Sr.'s half of the family after Rita's half agreed to switch places. Her not being allowed to go to Ruth's was stated in the episode Two Boys and a Baby, although that rule got broken at the end due to BS reasoning. The same rule was also conveniently ignored in the episode Sweet and Sour. So do you see how inconsistent this whole Lily cat situation is? However, unless that problem was resolved off screen, there's still no evidence to suggest the other kids were going to cause any undue stress to the cats, considering we never saw any up to this point in the series. But either way, the episode could have ended right there with Lynn Sr.'s half of the family regretting what they had done earlier. Only in a small way could you say they got what they deserved for not honoring the name drawing and decided to be sneaky to get the upper hand. I know it's not the best way for them to learn their lesson on learning to go with the flow, but it would have been better than what happens after their first phone call with Lenny. They plan to swap locations again so they can get what they assume will be the better end of the deal. Once more, the other half of the family take them up on their offer in exchange for the bare minimum. Again, why not play hardball and get more? So when Lynn Sr.'s half arrives at the lake house, they see termites eating through one of the walls. They're the same termites they discovered at their house. This is where I have to talk about Lana, and this was, in my opinion, one of her worst performances. I have no problem with her caring deeply about animals and wanting to keep them alive like she's done with frogs, reptiles, and fish. There's nothing wrong with her being an animal activist, but you have to draw the line somewhere. She cares more about saving a bunch of bugs that could destroy her home more than she cares about her family wanting to live in said home. That's a level of selfishness I didn't think someone like her was capable of achieving. What's worse is that she brought those same termites to the lake house and she caused damage there as well. The part that really angers me the most is she never sees the error of her ways, or at least the viewers never see her being reprimanded for her actions. I don't know if it's directly confirmed if she brought the termites into the loud house or the termites just showed up there on their own. In either case, if she was hiding them from the family, then she played a direct role in having the house damaged and fumigated and therefore should have been punished. Instead, she gets off the hook and still gets the good end of the deal, which brings me to the ending of the story. Lynn Sr.'s half are now forced to stay at Ruth's regular house, have a miserable time, and then call Lenny to see if they're having a terrible time at Sunset Canyon like they did. But no, Lenny and the others are actually living it up on a cruise ship the retirement home conveniently rented from out of nowhere. That's how the episode ends, with the antagonist getting screwed twice in the same episode, all in the name of comedic irony. Once was bad enough, but 2 times was pushing it. This is why Lynn Sr. and his half didn't deserve to be punished like this. They didn't do anything fundamentally wrong, and they still got the short end of the stick each time. Them being sneaky and trying to negotiate a better deal isn't really a bad thing per se. Bringing termites to a lake house and causing property damage both there and at the loud house are worthy of punishment. So with all things considered, it's the wrong people being punished in this episode. But you know, if they wanted to keep most of the story the same, the least they could have done was change a few things. Here's what I would have done differently. Both Sunset Canyon and Aunt Ruth's new lake house could be great places worth visiting, but because only half of the family can go to either one, they draw names with Lynn Sr.'s half going to Sunset Canyon and Rita's going to the lake house. The middle part with Lynn Sr.'s half can be kept mostly the same and then remove the first phone call with Lenny because there's no cell service at the lake house. Then Lynn Sr.'s half fantasize about how great the lake house must be, and finally change the ending to where everyone reconvenes at the loud house. Lynn Sr.'s half reveals the horrible time they had at the retirement home when things started going wrong, and Rita's half also confesses to having a horrible time. They explain how they were just getting settled inside the lake house, but because Lana secretly brought those termites along, they had to quickly leave when they saw the bugs destroy one of the walls. In the end, they too get screwed out of what could have been a pleasant experience and were forced to stay and have a miserable time at Ruth's regular house while the lake house was being fumigated for the same reason as the loud house. At least that way everyone could be on the same level where they all got screwed through no real fault of their own. Then Lana could be forced to apologize for how her actions caused everyone to unnecessarily suffer. It's not a perfect revision and I still need to iron out all the kinks, but what I just laid out sounds a hell of a lot better than what we were actually given. Overall, there's really not much left I can say other than this episode is just awful. The joke or lesson they were going for was you should just roll with the punches because you never know when something good is going to happen. All I can say is the episode did a terrible job of demonstrating it. I get how Lynn Sr.'s half technically got what they deserved because they were being deceitful, but did they really deserve to get put through the ringer twice while the other family members got to come out as winners no matter what? We also can't forget how Lana instigated and continued the problem that set the story in motion, not to mention how she's never disciplined for her actions. This episode tried to present the family getting screwed as funny, but it ultimately comes off as, like I said, awful. It felt more like a first draft that wasn't given any time for even the littlest revision, and it definitely had the potential to be way better. But as it stands, this is what we got, and it's a major flop. With that said, I give Ruthless People a 2 out of 10. Well folks, that concludes my review of Ruthless People. So I gotta ask, what did you guys think of this episode? Sound off in the comments below, and be sure to click that subscribe button for more Loud House related content. That's going to do it for me. I'll catch you guys for the next video, but until then, this is SteamTeamRedubUK, CC Trainor-Ling, signing off. Peace out, home slices.